most of my life, but I'm done with a job and a wife. Got a family, a good piece of land that I bought with hard work, that I earned with easy.
Okay, we're doing the first service, a 50-hour service on our 6065. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Got an oil filter there. It does have like a guard to protect it from sticks and whatnot. 2 bolts. Pop that off. Get a filter wrench on that sucker, and then spin that off. Now what we got down under here? Big old oil pan. Let's see, I think somewhere over there. Sorry for a little shakiness. Big old drain bolt right there. It's up and down through here, under here, rather, just kind of looking at things, and I'm like, wow, looks like I got an oil leak there, but I think it's coming from this fitting right here. At least it appears to have been that fitting, which goes to the hydraulic steering. So I'm gonna have to see what's causing that leak. But yeah, so yeah, now we got a good look. There's the guard and the 2 bolts right there. And then we'll spin that sucker off and get the oil knocked out of it and let her drain real good. Put her back together. Everybody knows the hardest thing in the world to find is the tool you just had in your hand 2 seconds ago. Oh, I got her. You guys are listening. It looks like it's a 14 millimeter for the filter guard bolt. Which are coming out real nice. Also kind of weird, I'm doing this out here on the ground. The garage is relatively new, and I don't have any lights in that sucker yet. So it's actually a lot brighter out here in the sunlight. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, that leak that looks like it's coming from that hydraulic connection does make a little bit of sense, because I have noticed my level dropping just a smidgen over the first 50 hours. You know, not much obviously, but just a little. And that filter wrench is too darn small. So I've seen a lot of people say that the oil filter felt cross-threaded or something. You know, it fought them the whole way. I must have got lucky. Mine only fought me like 98% of the way down. Pretty weird though. Usually it's just till the rubber seal comes loose, but it felt like it was a lot farther. Maybe not. Oh yeah. Real nice. Sucker drain a little. guys might want to get a closer look. You can't see a whole heck of a lot from back here. Let's see what I got. Man, beautiful sunny day. February 6th, I think. It's been like in the teens for highs and stuff here in New York for a bit. Today I think we're almost 30, or should be by this afternoon. Okay, let's see if I can do this without making you all sick. Motion sickness. Okay. Oh, look at that. There we go. So, it did fight me a good bit. Not as bad as a lot of people said. The two lines off to the side there. How do I explain this? When you start turning that filter, it loosens up that housing. And those two lines are kind of helping you keep that straight. So I had two hands on it. I grabbed a hold of one side and on the lines to hold it. And then I worked the filter wrench with the other hand. And that seemed to work pretty good. Like I said, it fought a little bit, but it wasn't terrible. And I got a pile of mess here, but that filter wrench, if I got it in view, is what I ended up using. It's kind of tight there with the loader because the loader arm's right next to it. But we may do. Genuine Mahindra parts. Guess that's the way to go. And the book recommends 1540 for warmer climates down to 5 degrees, I believe. And Fahrenheit, that is. Maybe that's 5 below. But either way, we get a little colder than that. And then the other recommended viscosity is 530. So I go to my local Mahindra dealer. Like, hey, can I get some Mahindra 530? No, all we do is 1030. Well, that's not my book. I show him. Okay. So he says, well, they're not real picky on using Mahindra oil because I'm looking on my order sheet here and I can't even order 530 in Mahindra oil. I'm like, huh, all right. So I ended up getting some Shell Rotella T6, 2.5 gallon jug there, which was really hard to find. And that's what we're going to run in this baby after 50 hours. Full synthetic and just let her rip. All right, I'll get you set back up here. We'll get that filter back on and, oh, you know what? I'm going to get the oil drained out of it. I think it's a 22 millimeter, but I can't quite tell because I can't get my socket on it because the front drive shaft protector's in the way. So I got to come up with a 22 millimeter wrench, I think. This one too small. Heck yeah. Got the drain bolt out, didn't even get any of my hands. All right, a little bit. Let's make sure I got this. So there she is. You know, it's magnetic drain bolt. I got a little bit on there, not a lot. You see it. It's kind of just, you know, it's just a little sludgy. It's nothing, no big fines or anything. It's just a little bit of sludge there. So if you guys get tearing yours apart, that's where mine's at, 50 hours. Actually, I'm pretty excited about that. Not too bad. Okay, got that baby draining. I got my pre-filled filter ready to go back on. Lube the gasket, of course. Wipe the sealing surface. It's actually pretty darn clean. It's a huge sealing surface. I think that's probably why it come off so hard. That rubber really bit into it. And the guys at the factory, I don't know. I just don't think they pre-lube the gasket. Seems like every vehicle I buy is the same way. That first oil change, if I'm changing it, is it's super stuck on there. I don't think that lubing the seals trickle down to the boys at the factories. Oh yeah. This one goes on like butter. So it says right on the filter, once that surface touches the seal to the top portion there, turn it 1/4 to 1/2 turn. And I always go a little more, but I'm going to try to just do the 1/2 turn. Almost a 1/2 turn. All right, I was wrong. 1/4, or no, 1/2 to 3/4. So we're gonna go 3/4. About there. Everything seems tight. And wind kicking up. Okay. There she is, all cleaned up. It is recessed around that magnet. I had a little bit in there, you know, but like I said, it was just all fine, sludgy type stuff. And I'd seen people mention about an adhesive on that drain bolt. There is something on there that's holding that crush washer. I asked the dealer about that. He said no, as long as it's not leaking, they just put them back in. So that's what I'm doing. Let's see, advice for this. It was a 22mm. Before you try to put anything on it, chip all that powder coat, paint, whatever off from that and make your tool fit a lot bigger. It is a 22 though, that fits perfectly. I ended up using a stubby wrench, Craftsman, and then I interlocked a big long pattern 7/8 to actually get it to go. I couldn't get a socket on it because, like I mentioned before, hopefully you heard it, the guard for your front drive shaft is a little bit in the way. So it'd be, you could squeeze it in there, but without taking that off, it'd be at an angle, and I'm just not into that one. So stubby wrench, locked in a long pattern wrench in that, and she broke loose pretty easy. Yep. All right. Back together. This ought to be fun. Oh yeah, I'm starting to think if the loader was in the air, or raised rather, it'd be a lot better. Too late now, needs oil. I also raised the hood just a little bit. That lets my funnel get in there at a nicer angle. She's on the stick. Easy there. I'm just at the ad mark right there. Yep, right at the ad mark. Get close. So this jug's 2.5. It's supposed to hold 2.25. So there's a little O-ring, rubber O-ring that goes probably on this, but on mine it's stuck on the housing surface. So just be aware of that when you get your funnel in there. If it's not on this, it's probably there, and it could fall off and you could lose it. So just be mindful of that, I guess. This really isn't a how-to. It's more of a, hey, this is what I encountered while I'm changing my oil. But we got that. She's just a tiny bit below the full mark, but I am on just a tiny bit of an angle here, so I'm gonna start it up, circulate it. The filter's pre-filled, but once I get it in the garage on the level ground, I'll check it again, and if it needs just a little more, I'll put it right there at the max level. But I think that's about it. So yeah, fought a little bit with the filter. Got to take the guard off. You got to try to hold that upper housing, which is a little different, but not a big deal. And there's a lot of stuff in the way to take the drain bolt out, but like I said, with a short stubby wrench, and I put a long pattern big open end wrench locked into that, it didn't take much to break it loose, and after a few revolutions, she let loose and came out nice. But yeah, overall, really not that bad. I know there's been some horror stories, so I really wasn't looking too forward to it, but yeah, it was okay. Guess one more quick thing before I let you guys go. For those of you that are having a hard time picturing what I was talking about, getting that drain bolt out with a stubby, there's my little stubby wrench, 22mm, and long pattern, 7/8, but I basically just locked them in like this. Got a little leverage on it, and there was enough room with all the stuff under there. I was able to break it loose, and then I just kind of worked it with this little guy. That worked out nice. No socket needed. Pro tip. Okay, so the other part here with this 50 hour, it says check the coolant, add if needed. And I'm actually a little bit low there, if you'll see. Hopefully you can see. There's a min and max there. I'm just a little below the min, so we'll top that off. And then also check the belts, which are hiding back in there. All right, check those. They're both nice and tight. Hopefully you can see them. They're guarded pretty good. There's one of them. But they're good. And of course, what I do, everything I'm using for this first 50 hour is all Mahindra. I even got Mahindra antifreeze. Took me a little bit to find, but hey, Mahindra, if you're listening, supporting your product, loving it so far. Yeah, let's top that antifreeze off. Does anybody else find themselves like buying funnels? Almost every time I walk by one in the store, it seems like I pick up one like, I can use that. And this little guy, hey, I can use that. Oops. Forget that antifreeze. I wonder if old Hank from Hamiltonville Farms, or Hamiltonville Farms, I wonder if he'll come back to Mahindra now that his Branson deal's done. I try to keep up track of all these guys, but I'll be honest, I hadn't watched some new videos from him in a while. It's nice and green. There we go. So that min-max line is when the engine's cold. So I got her right at the max line when the engine's cold. Didn't take too much. So I bought this tractor. I couldn't find it locally. Ended up talking to a buddy about buying a tractor. He's like, man, I want to get a tractor too. So I'm looking for 2 tractors now. And tell another buddy, hey, we're thinking about buying some tractors. He's like, well, shoot, I need a tractor. So everybody picked what they were looking for. Ended up being, I needed a 6065 because I had some smaller stuff. I needed big stuff. Another friend, he got a 1626. Absolutely loves it. And then my third buddy bought a 4550 gear tractor, and he's put some good hours on that since he got it. So I'm doing my 50 hour. I think he's over 110 or 120 hours already, so he's using the heck out of that one. All right, so we're looking at that big guy there. Filter for the hydraulics. And so I'm thinking, you know, I can take these steps down and, you know, unpin them, swivel them down, and then that battery box will spin out of the way, and I'd have pretty good access to that. You do have to disconnect the battery to do that. I'm gonna try to do it without disconnecting. There's a pretty good gap here. I should be able to get on it. But I'd had to Actually had to run to the store because I had a whole bunch of these type filter wrenches that didn't fit. I got some of those pliers, they're okay. But this one here, and I actually picked up at Lowe's, what's it say? Up to 4 3/8. That will fit on the new filter. So I figure I'll grab that, and there's my big old hydraulic filter. But yeah, that's the last bit of that. So I'll get my drain bucket, get that set up, and see if I can spin that baby off and spin the new one on. Oh yeah, she's tight. Spin it a little. I don't think I ever would have got it with those pliers. I kind of wish this handle was a little longer for leverage. Yeah, we'll get a little higher on the filter. That's the ticket. Oh yeah, she's tight. One other thing to note, I don't think I have to pressurize at all at this point, but I'm just gonna run my loader controls and just make sure there's no pressure on anything. Typically do that when I shut it off anyways, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to double check it. Oh yeah. There she goes. That is a big old filter. Holy smokes. And here she comes. That's gonna make a mess. Nothing can be done. Yeah, it kind of drains down on a piece of the frame here. And it's super heavy. Sweet. What do you guys think? Should I fill this new one? Oh, she's still dripping on the top pretty good. I'm gonna spin this on and just collect a little bit of what's draining. So yeah, I'm gonna spin it on. Come on, girl. There she goes. It's slippery. So I still got some running out of the line into that filter. I'm gonna grab a jug and I guess I'm gonna fill it. I hadn't really thought about it. Oil filter, engine oil filter I always fill, but yeah, I'll throw some in that sucker. Okay, got ourselves some good old Mahindra tractor hydraulic fluid. So you might run into this. So I figure until I change it, you know, I think it's 400 hours maybe. You got to do a hydraulic fluid change, but I would just use the Mahindra brand just because I assume that's what they put in from the factory. Seems to be not. It's a different color. This is I think it even says ultra red, and the stuff that's in there is kind of like a normal, like a golden yellowish. I don't like mixing fluids at all, but it'd have been really cool if they put Mahindra fluid in there from the factory. Move that seal up real good. I think we're okay. She's full. I'll spit her on. Slippery as snot. More towels. Yeah, I'm reading, so right on that filter, it's telling me, you know, to make sure you lube the seal with fresh fluid, clean the mating surface, yep, and then screw filter until gasket makes contact with top surface, then tighten a farther 3/4 turn. Check for leaks. Yep, gotcha. And what do they call it? Yeah, so this is a suction line oil filter. That's what it says on the side of it. Get her good and cleaned up here so crap don't always stick to her. Okay, she's touching. Stick my wrench right on it, baby. And then try to remember. Let's see, there's a quarter. There's a half. And that's about 3/4. And she looks tight. So it squishes that seal at the top pretty good. You can tell. Yeah, she's almost touching the side of the canister, so it crushes that seal 3/4 of a turn after contact. It crushes it pretty good. Let me spin back here and see what my level looks like right now. Still in the window, didn't lose too much there. I guess after we start it up, we'll see how much it takes to fill the line back up. I just figured I'd top off this hydraulic fluid. So you have the, little sticker there. If I can get this thing to work, it says transmission oil. It's not coming up very good, but anyways, right on the back of the tractor, right in the center of the rear end housing. And there's just a plug that goes in there. That's kind of like a breather. So I'm like, well, I'll just stick a little funnel down in there and pour that in, and yeah, it doesn't take oil. It doesn't take it at all. So I think what you got to do is turn that out, and then you can probably get some oil to go in there. But without taking that out of there, yeah, you'd never get any in there. It'd take you forever. Not very tight. Let's see what we got there. Long-winded. Oh wow. All right. So that's what you're looking at. Yeah, no wonder she don't take any fluid. That's now you can get a good sized funnel in there and actually pour gallons if needed when you change it. Let's see, fresh rags. Makes more sense. Pretty clean. Oh yeah, she goes in much better. That's it for that one. What'd she look like? Huh. Well, with it not running, it's almost at the top of the sight glass, so it doesn't really say in the book to check if that while running or not. I know my John Deere had this. Now I'm trying to remember. I think it said to check it while it was running. This book just says check it. And it does affect it when it's running. It drops in the sight glass a good bit. So we'll start with that.
These things that I do, I did them for you. So just tell me you love me, tell me you'll stay and you'll watch over this house while I go away. Just promise to be here when I get back home, so we can start where we left off all those years ago, before my tears were made to control. Lost